Hey everybody, welcome back to another Rocket League news video. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. In the past, we've always talked about the results and who's winning and all that kind of stuff, but the difficulty is actually knowing who's the closest to securing a spot for LAN. And that's kind of a difficult thing to break down in general because there is so many matches going on over the course of technically 3 seasons. There's the fall, winter, and spring split. We don't really know who's going to make it into those moments anyway. So what today's video is going to be about is me actually showing you guys a place where you can find the results very easily and kind of give you guys the results up to this point. Right now it is August 21st. It is 2:20 in the afternoon on my time. So these results are going to change quite a bit because the EU grid is still actively going on right now. But realistically speaking, this is an easy way for you guys to kind of stay up to date and see what's going on. And we'll try to, I guess, give some insight as to why I think some of these things could be adjusted. But the big one is regionals has not yet finished. That'll be going and starting technically today when you guys watch this video. And the EU grid still needs to finalize as well. So a lot of these things are either going to be a bunch of ties across the board with no points, or the fact that it just hasn't happened yet. So as a heads up, things like this are going to change significantly over the next couple of days. But before we actually get into all that information, if you guys enjoy the content, as always, make sure you guys give it a thumbs up, as well as make sure to hit subscribe and turn on notifications. And last but not least, if you want to support me directly, easiest way to do so is all the social medias that are rotating on the bottom left. Make sure you guys go give those a like and follow as well. You can find those all in the description down below. If you haven't seen or don't know how to find this information, the easiest way to do so, there has been someone on the subreddit that has been posting screenshots of it, which is really helpful. But if you go to the fall split at the very top, front page of Liquidpedia, you can click on fall major and it'll break down everything by region. One of the tabs though is rankings. So if you click on that, you can check out specific regions, whether it be NA or EU, and then you can break it down by each individual season as well as the grid, which is a separate thing. Case in point, if you go to the fall ranking for North America, it's going to show all these other teams, but the thing it doesn't bring up is the fact that since regionals has not yet finished for the first regional, all the teams that are still alive in it, from 72 PC all the way down to version 1, are with no points because we haven't seen the results of the top 16 teams that are still playing this weekend in stage 2 as well as the playoffs. So a lot of exciting things to be watched, but we'll be watching stage 2 in the playoffs breakdown this weekend. My birthday is tomorrow, so we'll probably be just chilling on stream watching the rest of these matches to see who our top 8 are. But that's what will be happening there. So a lot of exciting matches tomorrow, a lot of really stacked names. All these guys probably in the top 15, top 16 anyway. So frontline I think is probably the only anomaly. Continuum, Jamal Jabari, obviously fighting against other teams like United and stuff. So really exciting matches all around, everybody coming out to play. So for NA rankings, we're going to kind of stay away from that just because of the fact that we still need regionals to really give us the results from there. We can check out the grid. So first thing we're going to do, grid ranking, you can see the results across the board if you guys haven't been able to pay attention. Rather than looking from each week individually, you can see 2 things very simple, and this is stuff that we've talked about. Anybody that has a 1 in their numbers means that they have 1-1. Space Station, talk about them being the best team in North America. Part of the reason why is their consistency. Every single match, and you can tell by the lead, is because they've gotten 2 victories and a 2nd place. So Space Station looking absolutely phenomenal right now. Just behind them is G2. The big difference and the thing that I noticed is with Energy, if they didn't have such a rough performance in the first one, the difference of where they could be in at least 3rd place might be ultimately kind of their deciding factor. So some exciting stuff there, but you can kind of see how close it is from a lot of these teams, how well certain rosters have been performing. And I think that's the nicest thing about this is if you're looking for week-to-week standings or where teams are playing at the current moment, the best thing to do is kind of just see the consistency through all these. And this is also going to make it really easy to see if there's a trend between certain teams that have rough performances in the grid as compared to otherwise. So obviously the guys do weight regionals a little bit heavier, but I think this is a really simple way to go and figure out and kind of take a look at how things are performing consistently over week to week, even though regionals are always going to be weighted heavier because it's over the course of 4 days and there's a lot more to it. And someone is messaging me, so we're going to throw my phone over there. But yeah, some really exciting stuff with the way that this breaks down. I think the big takeaways, Space Station back on top is super important. G2, now that they're back in the house, is looking really, really solid. Envy and Energy, I think, are continuing to battle back and forth between that 3-4 spot. And they've ran into each other, like, I think 3 or 4 times now. So most of the time, if one of these teams is playing each other, they go on to get to the kind of the final moments. Energy did not drop a single match until they got to the grand finals yesterday in the grid against Space Station, which ended up winning. I think they went up 2-0, and then Space Station won, I think, 4 in a row. So Space Station showing super good consistency. Part of the reason why they're the best of the best right now. If we jump over to Europe, you can take a look at how different this is. And the exciting thing about this is the way that it ends up playing out. And because it's over the course of so many weeks, I'm excited to see trends from one regional to another, not just grid to grid, because it is 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. So there's a big gap between regional 1 and regional 2. And whether we're going to see the same teams at the top is totally different. I think some things that are really noticeable about that is even though Dignitas didn't do too well in the grid yesterday / today, I think they got O2'd. They still have big performances here. And to keep in mind, I think the hardest thing to really emphasize is how big this season really is. And I think this will help articulate that, is the fact that we remember how many weeks of games and how many games there were in just the fall regional. And that was just 2 weeks ago that finished up. We still have to do that 2 more times. There's also a grid every week in between all of those. There's also a chance for a trade window. And we're going to do everything I just mentioned 3 times for both fall, winter, and spring. And winter and spring are also going to have different formats. So this is totally up in the air. You are going to truly see who the best of the best is. And they're also expanding who gets to go in the World Championship. The fact that it is 6 teams instead of 4 from North America and Europe. You're still getting, obviously, the 2 from both the other regions in SAM and OCE. But again, I'm really excited. And we haven't even talked about the other 2 regions yet. So there's some really exciting things that are going down. I know OCE starts this weekend as well. So again, there's a lot of matches going down. There's a lot of Rocket League. And I tend to reiterate, find a couple teams that you enjoy from both regions and support them where you can, because it's a lot. It is an absolute metric F ton of matches that people are having to keep track of. But BDS, I think, has solidified themselves as definitely a top 2, especially after the results today. Oxygen and them, I think, are right now on a warpath right now in week 3 of the grid. So it'll be interesting to see how that one plays out towards the end of the day. But again, I'm just trying to do this in my free time. And I know the information is going to be a little bit behind, but trying to provide you guys the area to know if you want to stay up to date. This is the place to do it. If we jump over to the grid for Europe as well, a team that I've been talking about that I've been pretty excited about has definitely been Giants Gaming. I'm curious to see on how much this is going to skew, considering Giants did drop down early this week. Triple Trouble was battling against Singularity, if I remember correctly. So because they have not gotten points yet, it looks like Triple Trouble did end up winning over Singularity. So congrats to them. Solary ended up actually losing their match. So Libertas, congrats to them for moving forward. So been some pretty big matches. Barcelona's still alive in it as well. Monkeys went to 5 against BDS and almost won it, except for there was a mistake on the back end and then ended up dropping to Barcelona. So a lot of parity in all of these matches. It's been going all over the place, and that's the exciting part. So for everything that's been coming and breaking down, I recommend, if you guys can, use this as a resource. Again, as a reiteration, front page, fall major, go to rankings, pick what you're looking for, and then it'll separate it based on if it's current season or if it's the grid, whatever it is. You can check full rankings. Full ranking only applies to all the regionals, and this is more so just telling everybody, like, based upon their results, this is who and where they're going to be when it comes to the actual World Championship, because majors are obviously kind of the big notable one, while the grid only pulls and plucks the top team and throws them in. So keep that in mind. Links to all these graphics and brackets and everything will be down in the description below. And something I haven't done in a while is kind of picking one of the comments. Most of my previous videos have been kind of focused on like one certain element, and a lot of the things have been the same. But if I jump back to my in-game tournament update video that I put out, there was a lot of people talking about, obviously they like the new system and how things are starting to play out, but how important it could be for a certain other feature to get updated at the same time. And in this one, it is actually the communication. The in-game comms have actually been pretty sluggish and pretty awful for quite a while. And I think now is as good as a time as any to really implement that type of resource. So part of the reason why I think this is a big focus and something else to consider is because with the ability to queue solo into 2 teammates or 1 teammate that you don't know, in-game comps are going to be actually a really big deal, especially for the in-game tournament structure. The in-game tournament structure is definitely focused more so on the casual fan base, and that's why I don't have too much of an issue or a gripe with the tiebreaker situation, where if they are tied, which is very unlikely, being honest, if they are tied, it ends up going to a coin flip. I do feel that if they want to take this more in a serious approach, something like in-game comms is going to be a very big feature. You see how impactful and how important it is for so many other different games, and how easily implemented it is in so many other games. It's just the voice quality isn't good. So I do agree with a lot of you guys in the sense where something that should be focused on and something that should be updated as well with the in-game tournament system is also the in-game communication feature, because I do feel that a lot of times when you are playing in-game, the ability to communicate with your teammates, especially in a game like Rocket League, would increase the levels of everybody in general. So I do think that's a really good point and something that should be focused on a little bit heavier, especially with the new tournaments update coming up soon. Quick and simple video today. I know we've been running super long with the predictions and stuff at like 20+ minutes, but this one is quick and snippy, and more so to encourage you guys to go check out those ranking systems as we try to update those. I'll also be using those in future videos to keep you guys up to date on the current standings for everybody across the board as well, rather than just where I think the players are actually at and where they actually stack up. So, but again, if you guys enjoy the content, make sure you guys give it a thumbs up, as well as make sure to hit subscribe and turn on notifications, and we'll see you next time.